Hi everyone, it's Adam Harris here. It is Sunday evening, the 22nd of November 2020. Excuse me, I'm having a look at the major commodities. I'm going to start off with gold. Now, so gold, for a while I've been yabbering on about gold, that I believe that it should be connecting with 1800 as a minimum, kind of call it a amortization or a recoupment of energy that has been expended to get it up to these highs. So I think that it should really connect with it. I still stand by that. At this point in time, the market is still looking at price action. Candlesticks are still looking weak. They're certainly not looking strong or bullish. If I look at the weekly price action, it's hovering back down again at this recent level of support. Let's call that 1860, and is looking sort of increasingly bearish. We've got a lower high here as well. And certainly I think it's reasonable that if we do start to break below these previous lows this week, then there'll be some short-term, very short-term opportunities of trades to the downside as price heads down towards 1800 this week. Okay, on the lower time frames, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and so on. In order to negate that, I'd have to see price reject this level, break back up above 1900. It is still stuck within a range at any rate. And of course, if it does start to break above these previous highs as it heads towards 2000, then I'm back on board. Then I become bullish again. But yeah, as it starts to break below this, ideally my first prize, plan A, is going to be a break below this. Any other retest on the lower time frames, trading it down towards just above that, about 1803, 1804, and looking for a price to connect with that. And as I said, negate it if that breaks the high. Comparing that with silver, if that is the case, then potentially silver will come down towards 23. I think silver should be down towards 21. And the current candle is looking, I mean, we've still got just under 10 days away from the end of the month. But if that does close as a bearish rejection candle, then that just adds to the weight that silver, or to weight to the idea that silver will still head down lower in the coming weeks. The weekly is technically in an uptrend though. Okay, so we've got an uptrend on the weekly. Price action not looking super bullish. It's bullish ranging. That would be my way of describing it. And again, similar to gold, my expectation. So if price instead this week breaks the previous high, starts to break up above this, then I will start shifting towards a bullish outlook. But my plan A, first of all, is to see price break below this. And if the trend is good and it's a nice stable downtrend, I'll be looking for shorting opportunities on silver as well. Copper has been a star performer, really very, very nice. Now it is approaching very strong, significant resistance, and it's had a strong move. It's overextended to a degree, and so I would expect this week for it to struggle based off past reaction against this price level. Overall, though, it is looking in principle really nice and healthy. So this week I'm going to be monitoring how it reacts around this level. If it can successfully get through this level, there may be some opportunities to the next level up. But again, this whole area here is fraught with some danger, historically speaking. But this is incredibly nice and bullish, and overall it bodes well. So as I said, there are no immediate entry opportunities. I'd have to wait for price to retrace to test the level of previous resistance as support, and then look for an opportunity to join that trend. And as I said, it's already going to encounter some strong resistance, which I'll be monitoring this week. But overall, very, very nice. That was a nice opportunity last week, and we'll see how it is after that. Now, platinum has had, I would call it, a very successful month, very nice and bullish, coming back into significant monthly resistance, similar to copper. And I'd like to see how it can react, how it can deal with this level. It's definitely overextended. Price action here is starting to show exhaustion. And so what I would expect from this is potentially a retracement back down into fib level or any kind of pivots as well. And certainly back down into this area, looking then for a potential buying opportunity to the upside. So there might actually be a swing trading opportunity to the upside. And possibly, if gold does indeed become bearish, possibly a shorter term counter trend, counter prevailing momentum. Shorting opportunities. Palladium is really struggling. I mean, this has been range bound for about 6-7 days. The weekly trend is struggling with overall resistance here towards 2460 as well as 25. Okay, and the monthly here looking incredibly weak at these levels of resistance. So I lean more towards this potentially heading lower as well, back down to testing support at 2200 first. That's my plan A, versus it managing to come back up, but not high on my list. No real magic in this chart right now compared to what we've had in the past. It is just, there's just not enough buyers above this level. Then moving on to crude. So West Texas, I want to highlight here because I've been obviously bearish on this for a while. And I spoke last week about what I need to see it kind of convincingly change that. And it's not really a lot. I needed to really break outside of this range. And for most of last week, it really struggled to do that. It's still attempting to push outside of that range. And so for me, plan A will then be to see how far it can break out of that range before coming back to test the top of the range for potential buy opportunities to the upside. Okay, but outside that, it's a bullish so far. It's a bullish engulfing, and also again that leans towards price climbing a little bit higher, but it ain't over yet. We've got 10 days, just under 10 days towards the end of the month, and if this did ultimately close as a bearish rejection candle, excuse me, a bearish rejection candle, then that only supports the idea of a longer term move to the downside. However, shorter term, it's definitely keen on climbing higher. It'll be the same for Brent also, which is trying to break free of its strong resistance that it's been encountering on the daily here to get past local daily resistance there at 40, let's call it 45. Get above that, then there might be some buy opportunities. But even then, you can see in recent history, it's encountered some strong resistance up here. So there's a lot going against it, but it is certainly pushing higher as much as it can, and I'm open to the idea of it, but I still need to see it successfully get free of this range bound entanglement, like crude offering a similar challenge. Even though it looks nice and bullish here and does look as though it's going to get free, it failed to get past 43, and that is going to stay a challenge until we get right past that. And then I'll be switching to bullish. I'm happy to change direction, but I need to see enough evidence of that, and there just isn't enough of that just yet. Then going on to Bitcoin. So the daily itself does not look as overextended as does the weekly, which is definitely overextended. True value for the weekly lies closer to 13,000. The monthly is looking somewhat overextended. It's not ridiculous. This is the weekly, relatively speaking, is more overextended than the monthly. The monthly is definitely overextended, but just not as much. And the daily actually looks okay. It's starting to go parabolic, but that doesn't mean that it's out of juice. I think it's got its eyes on 20,000. So the question is, does Bitcoin have enough power to do a last minute thrust, jump, kind of leap for 20,000 before taking a massive breather? And so that is what's going to be on my list. If it fails to do that, it might just produce a swing low and then continue up. But certainly once it achieves that, I think it's realistic to expect that there could then subsequently be a deeper correction on the weekly and monthly. So this week, those are my kind of key levels. The lowest point would be down at 13,000. This trend looking very nice and healthy. I think 20,000 is where it's aiming for, and I think that it's not outside the realm of possibility that it could manage to do it, but I certainly think it's now overreaching already, and therefore if it did hit 20,000, that would be the point beyond that would be sort of the complete use of all the available energy, and therefore would need to take a breather. It would have to have a correction. And that correction puts us down on a daily basis around 16,000. Again, same 13,000 on a weekly and monthly basis would be pretty good, but it does put us down lower down and a decent correction. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Ethereum, a little bit slower, but also managed to catch up in the last week. It's been slow over the last couple of weeks, but managed to catch up in the last week. And so it might try for 600 if Bitcoin is trying for the next biggest number. It's not, as I said, Ethereum is not as overextended, so we're going to have to see. But I'm really going to be following Bitcoin a lot closer, because right now it's the leader, whereas several months ago Ethereum was actually the leader. And right now it's Bitcoin, so I'm going to be following that and just cautiously watching that and looking to see if it can hit 20,000. That would be interesting. That's it. Thank you very much, folks. Have a great week.